The Girsan Witness 2311 in 10 millimeter. Let's check it out. .311 style pistols are so popular, and there are so many companies that have been making them, starting out with STI and then again with Staccato and all these other companies, but typically the 2011s bring a hefty price tag. One of the things that Girsan has done is brought together a 2311, which is of the 2011 style, and they are producing handguns that are actually really good quality, and yet it gives you a good price to where most of us can afford it. This is the Witness 2311 in 10 millimeter. Now, we reviewed the 9 millimeter, which it was a great gun. And for under $1,000, I mean, for a 2011 style pistol, that is excellent. But now you're bringing in the power of the 10 millimeter. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, Girsan has been producing a number of different handguns all across the spectrum. But Turkey is producing some really good quality handguns from a number of different companies. But Girsan is really kind of going to the beat of a different drum, and it's really cool to see a lot of their designs. Now, we want to thank EAA Corporation, or European American Armory, that imports the Girsans for sending this pistol for this review. Guys, the Girsan Witness 2311C, which stands for the compact, and this is in 10 millimeter. It is a 2011 style pistol. Now, 2011 is trademarked STI or Staccato, but it's still that same style. One of the beautiful things, though, about Girsan is that they bring in quality firearms, and typically they're very reasonable in price. And I've dealt with a lot of different Girsan handguns, and they are very nice, very well built. We just did a review on their 2011C, and this is in 9 millimeter. And you know, it's a very reasonable, nice quality gun. I mean, if you're looking for a 2011 and you don't want to spend $3,000, $4,000, you know, this is a great option. And there are some others that have come out. I mean, the Bull Armory comes next, and then we've got the Springfield Armory Prodigy that's coming in reasonably. And honestly, right now, there are some other 2011 style pistols that are coming in very reasonable. So it's nice to have these different options. Now, first thing we're going to do is drop our magazine, which it is a 15-round magazine. It's a Checkmate mag, and these were actually specifically ordered to optimize the reliability of this handgun. But it will fit other 2011 style pistols. And then we'll check to make sure that the gun is unloaded and the chamber is empty. And with that mag well, it goes in really nice. And then we have side cuts here where in case we have any kind of malfunction, we can reach up and pull that polymer base plate. These are really nice magazines, and I think they run about $50 a piece, which for 2011 style mags, that's pretty good. Now, Girsan has been in business since 1993. They're based in Turkey, but they have a really high quality of standard. They make firearms for military, police, and civilians. They import guns all over the world. But really, their big thing with the Witness 2311 was to make a very affordable 2011 style pistol. Now, this again is the compact version. It has a 4.25 inch barrel. They do make a little bit of a shorter model, 3¼ inch barrel. Now, 4¼ inch barrel means that it's about the commander size. And then you have your 5 inch barrel, which is more of your government size. And then they have a 6 inch model that is only in 10 millimeter, and it's what they call the Hunter. So it gives it a little bit more velocity, a little more sight radius. But from what I've seen, all the grip modules are the same. Now this is what really changes things. The grip module is a polymer frame that fits toward the bottom of an aluminum receiver or frame here. And of course the slide is all steel, which gives it a fairly lightweight feel, but you know, it's still a fairly heavy gun because it's a big full-size gun. But one of the things about the polymer grip shell is that you've got all this texturing all the way around. I love the diamond pattern, which is really one of the Colt diamond grips. You know, it just kind of mimics that. But has a wraparound pretty much grip that gives you a lot of texturing. It's going to allow you to hold on to the firearm, especially when you're shooting loads that are pretty hot for 10 millimeter. Otherwise, it's a 1911 style as far as the manual of arms. So we have a beaver tail, which is a grip safety. Has to be depressed, but it also gives you a lot of surface when it comes up really high. And then we have a Delta style hammer. And one of the things about that is when we bring it back, that hammer nestles into the beaver tail. You can pull the trigger, but without the grip safety depressed, no action to the trigger. So this gives you a little bit of extra safety, and it's passive. But we also have a frame safety that's extended, and we have it on the other side, so it is ambidextrous. This is the way I typically carry a 1911 or even a 2011 style pistol. And this is a very safe way to carry. And so with that, you fire the round, and then subsequent shots just go back and you fire it until you run out. And then it'll hold the slide back on the last round. Here is your slide stop, so we can release it there. Magazine release right here, throws the mags out. Has a really nice extended mag well toward the end. This is removable, but this really allows for mags to go in very quickly. We do have a Picatinny rail, 4 slots. We have rear cocking serrations that are wide. In fact, they're wider than the original 9 millimeter, and we'll look at that. But then we have some front slide serrations, which are great for press checks. And this is optics ready. This is cut for the Shield RMSC, which is really plentiful. It's a smaller size. One thing about the 1911 is it has a very thin slide. Now the grip does come out some with the 2011, but I'm going to tell you guys, it has a very natural feel to your hand, and especially shooting 10 millimeter, it gives you a little bit extra. Now we have a front sight here, and it is dovetailed in with the optics, and the first, I think, 3,000 of these that are going to be sold will have the optic installed, but it includes the plate. Now this is your sight plate. Your sight's included. It's a 3-dot sight, and if you want to take your red dot off, it'll go right in, and it even has the screws provided. And so that just gives you another option, or you can change it out to any red dot that'll fit the Shield RMSC footprint. But it does have a sight on the back of the sight. It's just 2 orange little dots, and it lines up in contrast with the front white. And I like that because honestly, I don't like to not have a sight even though I have my red dot mounted. Not a bad substitute considering you're going to have those sights. But typically, I like to retain my sight. But this is all metal, it's one piece, it's going to really protect that rear sight, which is kind of a Novak style. Now we want to check the slide action. 1911s are known for being very nice with the slide, very easy to rack. And it's no different than this. Now this doesn't have your super smoothness of, let's say, the Bull or even the Springfield Armory, which just has a very nice, sweet pull to it. It's got a little more weight to it. Of course, this is in 10 millimeter, which is definitely something I need to take into consideration. It's going to have a heavier recoil spring. But overall, I mean, it's smooth. It's not gritty, but I've definitely seen smoother, but obviously, you know, we're coming in at about half the price of most of your other 2011 pistols. It looks like it has kind of an anodized finish. It's a matte finish, but it looks actually pretty nice all the way around. The machining looks good on it. One thing about the receiver is that it kind of thickens up here at the back, and so it just gives a little more strength from your 1911 style width. And so this just allows for this to be mounted here, and actually the polymer is all the way around right here with your trigger guard. Now it does use the standard barrel bushing system, and we have our recoil spring guide plug underneath. This disassembles just like your standard 1911. The guide rod and the spring are not captive. It's not a one-piece guide rod. With the slide stop, you can see that it is recessed into the frame, and then it's very well checkered. little better look at those extended safeties. This is your definite frame safety. And honestly, when you're firing it, you can get a thumb on here, and it gives you a little more leverage when you're firing. Now we have 9mm, we have 40 caliber, and then we have 10mm, and we have 45 ACP. And these are real common self-defense rounds. Of course, 380 ACP is another one. But with 9mm, this is the most popular self-defense round out on the market. 40 caliber came in pretty strong for a number of years, especially with law enforcement. But the recoil is a little bit more than your 9, and it doesn't really give you that much difference with the 9mm self-defense load. 40 caliber is actually a cut-down version of the 10mm. And so the 10mm has a longer case, but still has about the same bullet weight. Of course, you can get different bullet weights. And then we have the 45 ACP, and this has been known as a man-stopper for a long time. It's a big, slow-moving bullet, 230 grains versus about 180, 170, and then 115 to 147 grains. Now, why in the world do you want a 10mm? 10mm gives you about the same ballistics as the .357 Magnum, which is one of the best self-defense rounds, but typically limited to revolvers. And so you have a less round capacity. When I'm hunting, I'm always carrying the 10mm because it has the power to be able to stop larger predators. So it really makes an excellent hunting option, or a sidearm when you're hunting. But the recoil is more than any of these. One of the things about a 45 ACP is it has more of just a shove. When it comes to 10mm, it's more like a punch. Again, we did review the Girsan Witness 2311 in the 9mm. Excellent pistol. I mean, we shot a lot of rounds through it. It's very reliable. But it has all the same features of your 10mm. It's just that the 10mm is just more powerful. To be honest, they're pretty much the same size as far as overall. Really, the 1911 was designed for 45. So as far as dimensions go, your 10mm and your 9mm are pretty much the same. But it would also be the same dimensions as your 40 or 45, which they do offer all of those calibers. Now, I love that they've kept the markings kind of clean. They just have Girsan on one side, and then they have the Witness 2311C here on the other side with 10mm. Now we're going to check the trigger pull action. We have the hammer in the rear position. One of the things about the 1911 is it traditionally has a very smooth, crisp trigger. Being single action, it's some of the best triggers in the handgun world. So we have some short take up right here, and then it hits a wall. Then we have a nice break. You know, it's not a super sharp pinpoint break, but it's definitely a lot nicer than most of your striker fire pistols or even your double single actions. Reset right there. So it has a fairly fast reset. All right, let's check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. 6 pounds, 15.7 ounces. 6 pounds, 15.5 ounces. Pretty consistent. We tried that a number of times. One of the things I wanted to make sure, because that is a little bit heavy for a 1911. In fact, you can actually tune this because you can tune any 1911 for better trigger. So it's going to have a little bit heavier trigger than a lot of your 1911s, but still very smooth and crisp. And weight on the 2311 compact. 2 pounds, 2.1 ounces. And that includes the red dot sight. As far as the red dot sight, it's called the Far Dot. And, you know, it's a nice bright optic, seems to work well. Of course, again, you have your sights here on the back so you can co-witness with your front sight. And it does co-witness. It sits pretty low into the slide. There's no optics mounts. It fits directly, so that helps. It also looks like it has a solar panel on the top. I'm looking at the ridges, but that's definitely going to give you the extra light, the ambient light. And so this is actually not a bad little red dot. I want to give a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA, one of the top suppliers of ammunition in the country. And we forgot our Lula loader, which we've only got one mag, so we'll just do like we normally do. Load these mags. The Girsan 2311 Witness Compact, 15+1, the 2011 style with the polymer frame, You know, guys, these have been just out of reach. It's great to see other options that are budget friendly, but yet they're good quality. You know, Girsan puts out a lot of great things. The one thing about this handgun is it has all the extras. It has the high ride beaver tail, the Delta hammer, has the mag well, front and rear cocking serrations, light rail, and you can get it with the optic or just optics cuts. Just a lot of cool features. One thing I do love about it in particular is I like the grip. It's very aggressive, and with 10 millimeter, it makes it really nice to be able to hold on to it. It's a handful. I mean, it's 10 millimeter, and you know, it does have some recoil over 45, definitely over 9, but you've got that much more power coming out. This is great for on the trail. You know, if you're in the backpack, if you're backpacking, if you're in the country, backcountry, 10 millimeter is what I like on my side. And this gives you 15+1, and it's the single action, very consistent trigger pull. That's a big plus. Carrying this thing cocked and locked in a nice holster. Red dot sight, you know, it's a fairly inexpensive sight, but you know, it gets me on, and we'll find out, especially when we do our accuracy shooting. Overall, just like the 9mm from Girsan, I've been very impressed. The Witness 2311 series is top notch. And if 10mm is a little bit over what you want, the 9mm is a very nice firearm. All right, first group, it was all over the place and even had one flyer. One of the things though that I realized is the mount had actually loosened up on the red dot sight. So then I had a 5-shot group here, pretty decent, and then I just took a 5-shot group here. Now, one of the problems is my camera was pointed at the wrong target. So while I was shooting, I was missing all this, and typically I like to get the gun shooting and showing the target. But I mean, really good accuracy, again, up to 7 yards. This really had me concerned. But obviously, when the sight was absolutely wobbling on there, I'm surprised the accuracy was this good. Now for disassembly. Drop your magazine, check to make sure that the gun is unloaded. Okay, this has your standard takedown procedure of your 1911. We have the barrel bushing, we have a recoil spring plug here, and so what we want to do is first start out here. Now we want to push down the plug, and it holds our bushing into place. And so we can either use a tool, but I'm going to just go ahead and bring it down, see if I can get it down. And then you want to turn your bushing to 9 o'clock, but you want to hold that plug because you don't want it to go flying out because it is under spring tension. Okay, here we're going to release the plug. Now what we can do is turn it over, bring back your slide, and there's a little notch right before your slide stop notch. Just a little crescent, and we want to get it over the slide stop about right there. And then from the other side, we're just going to push that out, and then we're going to pull it out. Now it's recessed into that frame, so it takes a little more to pull out. Now once we pull that out, we can go ahead and take our entire slide assembly and we can pull it off. And you notice that the plug fell. Now we can just pull our spring out, and we can pull our guide rod out. And this is, again, more of your traditional 1911 style. Now we can take our barrel bushing and turn it about to 5 o'clock, and it will just come out. It's got some keys in there that hold it into place. And then make sure your barrel link is in the down position, and then we can just push the barrel right out of the slide, and it comes out the front of the slide. This is standard 1911 barrel. Of course, it is in 10 millimeter, have a very high polished feed round. Comes to the slide, very nicely polished, and then, you know, I don't see any kind of tooling marks or anything in here. It's just very well done. And when it comes to the frame, of course, we have this aluminum section that comes all the way through. You see that you have your slide rails here and here, and then the polymer housing is down below that. But really nicely finished. And guys, again, it's just a basic 1911 field strip. First thing we want to do to reassemble is make sure our barrel link is down and put it into the slide. Next, we're going to take our barrel bushing And again, we're going to go to about that 5 o'clock position. There's a little key again in there that it'll just slip right into, like that. And then we turn it to the 9 o'clock position. Next, you want to take your guide rod and go ahead and put it into place. And then what I do is go ahead and put my spring in from the front. Make sure the barrel link is in the down position, and we're going to bring it back over our frame. Now sometimes it's a little tough to get over. Sometimes the barrel doesn't seat right in the right place. But here we go. We've got our notch lined up. So first thing we want to do is make sure we have the barrel link in sight, and then we'll take our slide stop and we'll put it down into it. Next, bring your slide stop up, and you want to get it right into that little notch. And there's a detent that holds it, so you kind of push it up and in. And then we just move our slide all the way forward. Now next, take your recoil spring plug, put it over, and you want to depress it. And once you get it down into the frame, we've got it where at least the bushing is holding it in. Just give it a little more push, and then bring your bushing back over it, just like that, and it captures it. And so now, we're back in business. Again, this is like your standard 1911. And it comes in a nice box. Open it up. Close foam padding, you've got your pistol, you've got your optics plate or your cover plate, and then you have a cleaning brush, your lock, and your sight tools, and your owner's manual and other paperwork. Now here I have the Springfield Armory Prodigy, I have the Bull Armory, and this is the TAC 4.25, and then we have the Girsan. When it comes to the Springfield Armory, I mean, these are running about $1,300 to $1,500, according to where you get it. If you go to the Bull Armory, these are running up to $1,800. So you're getting a really lower price. Now, these two handguns, especially the Bull Armory, it is a very finely finished handgun. And really, it's worth the price. When it comes to the Prodigy, I mean, this has been an excellent gun for us. There was a couple of magazine issues, but once we figured that out, this has been great. But you're still coming in considerably less for the Girsan. Now there is the Live Free Armory that just has come out with their 2011 style pistol, and it's about the same price as your Girsan. And when I say retail $999, market price is going to be less typically. So we're waiting to kind of see where these really land as far as market price. And they're about the same price as their 9mm counterpart. Now what are some pros and cons? Well, it's a 2011, and a lot of people have been looking at 2011 pistols, but they typically have just been out of reach for most people. So this brings the price down to it's just much more affordable, especially when we see where the prices end up. You've got 15+1 of 10mm, and again, you have a number of different calibers. It has all the features of a 1911 that are top quality, like your extended frame safety, really nice high ride beaver tail. You've got your accessory rail, front and rear cocking serrations. It's optics ready. You have a mag well. So it has a lot of cool things about it. The fit and finish is nice. I mean, this is a very well put together 2011 style pistol. What are some cons? The finish is not quite what it is on a lot of the more expensive handguns. It's more of a basic anodized type finish, but it seems to hold up well. Also, not quite as smooth as some, and of course, again, this is in the 10mm. But even with the 9mm, which this is a heck of a lot smoother than the 10. You can feel it's lightweight, and to be honest with you, once we fired this one quite a bit, it really smoothed out. And so I think that is one thing you're going to find even with the 10mm, is it's going to smooth out as well. The trigger, I mean 6.5 pounds or so, or close to 7 pounds. That's a little bit heavy. I would like to see that brought down some, but honestly, any competent gunsmith should be able to tune that trigger to get that trigger weight down a little bit. And that trigger weight will smooth out when you start shooting it. But I'm still going to give it a ding because it is a little bit heavy. Grip shell, very well done. I really like the texturing. I love the Colt diamond patterns on here. It does have the original barrel bushing design, which actually leads to good accuracy. But overall, as far as a great shooter, taking it out to the range, enjoying it, home defense, it gives you a lot of options. This, again, really brings that 2011 style handgun or the double stack 1911 down to a very affordable price. And that's really what Girsan was wanting to do. Well, guys, if you're looking for a 2011 style pistol, but they just seem to be out of reach, I think the Girsan Witness 2311 is an excellent choice. Comes in at a very reasonable price. Of course, you have a number of different calibers from 9mm, 40, 45, or the big boss 10 millimeter, and it just gives you a lot of choices, and yet it has all the bells and whistles of your high dollar 2011 pistols, but at a more reasonable price. And again, we really want to give a big thank you to EAA Corporation for sending the Girsan Witness 2311 in 10 millimeter for this review. That was a mouthful. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. But Girsan, fiber optic sight, and it's really small. Is it fiber optic? Plus, it's called the Fardot. So again, we did review the Smith & okay, but typically limited to. Oh, no. The Fardot. I was on a roll there, man. I was on a roll. And what did I do? Screwed up. Plus, it keeps from any kind of hammer bite. Now this, okay, what did I do all that for? Why? Lord! Have a skeletonized hammer and a square trigger. There is no texturing on the trigger itself, on the outside of the trigger. We also have some jacketed hollow points from Fiocchi, and these are 45 ACP. So guys, if you're looking for